Welcome back to B&B Movie Reviews. This week, we've waited 28 years for the conclusion to a genre-defining classic, and Brad Pitt shows the new kid on the block that you're not too old for one last ride.
We return to a world of dinosaurs, and Superman swoops in to inspire a new cinematic universe. Stay right there. B&B is up next.
So many dead. Infected and non-infected alike.
That's why our home is so precious.
You know, I feel he's a bit young.
He's ready, Jenny.
7, 6, 11, 5.
Once you walk onto that mainland, there's no rescues.
Moving up and down again. Don't.
We've waited 23 years for director Danny Boyle and writer Alex Garland to reunite to bring us the long-awaited sequel 28 years later.
Bryan.
All right, 28 years later. Now, I gotta say this, coming out of this movie, the one word that I've heard constantly is unexpected.
Yeah.
This movie was completely unexpected.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. If you had walked out of this movie 5 minutes early and missed just that last little bit, it would still be unexpected. But then that last little bit really discombobulates the audience, I think.
Yeah.
It kind of jumps genres and propels you into a sequel that we're not going to see until January. So that is like a weird emotional experience to have as the film's wrapping up. But let's put a pin in that and talk about the movie before those final 5 minutes.
Yeah, and like you were saying, even before that, 5 minutes at the end, the movie still was really unexpected for me going into it because it wasn't what I thought it was going into the film where, we're coming back, 23 years after Danny Boyle and Alex Garland did 28 Days Later, and we're kind of expecting something similar within the zombie genre because that first movie really kind of reinvented a lot of the
to me, what I was hoping to see and what we did end up getting is still a cinematically inventive movie. The original film being shot on that Ultra DV tape is it's fascinating. And when you go back and you watch 28 Days Later, it's like you're watching it with glasses covered in mayonnaise. That is like the ugliest looking movie, but it has a flavor.
Exactly. It has an aesthetic to it that really is,
So I wanted something that would capture that kind of guerrilla filmmaking that we got in 2000, whatever. And we get it. I mean, the movie looks a heck of a lot better than 28 Days Later, but Danny Boyle is still pushing the envelope. The editing in this movie is something else.
It feels very experimental of what he's doing with the editing in this. And then I like how the movie is kind of separated in two halves where really, and that's another thing that was surprising to me, where you have, Jodie Comer and Aaron Taylor Johnson, but this kid, Alfie Williams, who is the central main character of this story. And it's really kind of about him coming into his own, into manhood.
Yeah, it's a coming-of-age story. Yeah. And the whole movie rests on his shoulders. And it's one of the best child performances I've seen in years.
Easily. And then you see, the lessons learned from his father when he kind of goes out on this kind of rites of passage that he does when he's a certain age. But then we flip, which was, again, that were unexpected, when we flip to the second half of the movie where he goes on a journey with his mom. So it's almost like him learning two different sides of what his parents are kind of teaching him for him to kind of take the lessons and kind of figure out who he wants to be as a man.
And then in the process, the screenplay is really expanding on the 28 years universe, right? what is happening in England, what is happening beyond England.
Beyond,
you know, like I think about that first film where Cillian Murphy sees that airplane flying overhead,
Yes.
and he realizes, like, well, is the rest of the world going on?
Yeah.
And then in this movie, 28 years after that event,
Yeah.
the world is going on.
Yeah.
You know, the internet still exists. And then beyond that, we have like a strata of zombies in this film. You know, there are slow zombies. There are extra slow zombies in 28 years later. And then there's these alphas, these monstrosities, where the infection has kind of acted on their bodies like steroids. And then as the movie's going on and you're encountering all these various creatures, you start to wonder, like, well, is there a culture within them too? It reminds me a
Yes.
lot of Richard Matheson's I Am Legend.
You're right. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you're right. And because I love that, because you think like after like when this rage virus first comes in the original movie 28 Days Later, how that evolves over 28 years. And you're right. It does feel like even with the zombies or the ones that are infected with the rage virus, that they have evolved and created this like the way that we see the community in the beginning with Alfie, with Spike and his family. There's also a community with these zombies as well.
I think about how, you know, in 1968 when George Romero's Night of the Living Dead came out and kind of reinvented the concept of the zombie, and then we get like a wave of movies that are in that film's wake. And then 28 Days Later comes out in the early aughts, along with like the James Gunn, Zack Snyder, Dawn of the Dead, shortly after that. And then, of course, the Walking Dead TV series. And I feel like when this movie was coming to theaters, I have seen this genre stretch to its limits. It can't possibly do anything new. And then Danny Boyle and Alex Garland are like, no. There's still stuff to explore. There's still stuff to expand.
Yeah. What's your rating for this?
You know, we're the B&B show. If we like something, we give it a B+. That means you got to get yourself to the theater to watch it. If we don't like something, B-, skip it. And this is definitely a B+. One of the year's best films, weirdly.
Dude, easily. This is a B+ for me. It's definitely at the top of my list for one of the best movies of the year so far. We'll see how that holds up by the end of December. So yeah. All right, guys. So those are our thoughts on 28 years later. When we return, Brad Pitt and Damson Idris are on the racetrack for F1. Stay right there.
Every minute counts in a poison emergency. That's why Poison Help is standing by 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in over 100 languages. Save Poison Help as a contact in your phone today. Call your local Poison Center at 1-800-222-1222.
And our talented rookie, Joshua.
Why has he got a helmet?
Safety? Joshua, your seat is safe, okay? Son is here for the audition.
When was the last time you won a race?
Sunday, Daytona?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Formula One.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then same as you.
New driver JP and veteran Sonny Hayes' first meetup is less than pleasant when Sonny auditions to be the new driver on the racing team in Joseph Kosinski's follow-up to the Top Gun Maverick, F1 trademark the movie. Brian. I don't care at all about F1.
No. But that's the beauty of sports movies, man. You know, like I said, like you don't really have to be into the sport. And what I love about sports movies is that if it's very well directed, which this movie is, it will give you a shorthand for people who don't know the sport or who aren't interested in the sport to really understand the drama that's happening in the sport.
I have zero interest in F1 racing or NASCAR or riding around in circles in any kind of conveyance. But I love Days of Thunder, and I freaking loved F1 trademark the movie.
Oh, I love this movie.
Kosinski is an amazing filmmaker. Where he puts these cameras, these micro cameras, like it's exhilarating. You do feel like you're riding either in the car or on top of the car or next to the car. And I found it to be like addictive. I could have just stayed watching this movie for 7 hours.
Yeah, and you think going into this movie that it's going to build up to like one big race and then everything is going to be leading up to that race and we're not going to get a lot of the racing in the movie. No, this movie starts you with a race and I would say half of this movie feels like you're
10
on
races in this film.
Yeah, you're on the track.
But the brilliance of the script is that this team is the worst team in the league. And then it's about like, you know, the old guy who's past his prime, who should really retire but can't because of reasons. There's nothing new, like structurally or character-wise, but the performances are exhilarating. Brad Pitt, I mean, the dude's just charming.
I said this coming out of the theater. I was like, Brad Pitt is a movie star.
Yeah.
I mean, he is using all of his movie star charisma on screen in this movie.
And when we saw the film, it was like a special screening for like F1 fans.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was an alien in the crowd because there would be these cameos by, I guess, other drivers or coaches or something.
Yeah.
And people were like losing their mind. And I was like, oh, this is what it's like when my dad goes to see the Avengers. You know, he's like, well, who's Thor? Who's Doctor Strange?
I know.
But that didn't get in the way. Like the film just, you know, knows in its bones how to tell its story.
Yeah.
And whether you care about the material or not, you're gonna find a way to care about these characters, and you're gonna care about how this film is made. It's exhilarating.
I mean, from the direction to the acting, because it's funny, when we saw the opening credit sequence and I saw that the writer was Aaron Kruger, I'm familiar with some of Aaron Kruger's work, and it's not the greatest, but he's not really asked to do a lot because, I mean, again, another pun, this script feels very formulaic.
Yeah, it's formulaic, but it's clever in ways that it needs to be clever.
Yeah.
I think we should give some credit to your friend Aaron Kruger.
Yeah, I will give him a little bit of credit, but like I said, he's able to structure a film that is not doing anything too complex with the story, but is able to elevate the story with the acting and the directing to really kind of showcase that in the film as well.
I appreciate that the film's antagonism is inward.
Yes,
you know, it's about Sonny battling his own flaws. You know, it's about the team having to come together.
Yeah.
It's not about like, oh, Cary Elwes is in the mellow yellow car and he's a villain.
Yeah.
I know Cary Elwes in Days of Thunder wasn't in the mellow yellow car. I can't remember what his car was. I think it was Tide. Anyway, there's no like super villain in this film.
No, it's
There's
not.
like a bad guy that shows up late in the picture.
Yeah.
But it's mostly about how these guys can actually get over themselves.
And how to work together, how to work as a team.
Yeah.
And then speaking to, not to give anything away, but that so-called villain that comes in late in the film, speaking to Javier Bardem's character, who is one of the owners of the team, I really found his drama compelling, and his relationship with Brad Pitt. You really feel the history of their friendship and really feel the plight that he's dealing with trying to hold on to this team.
This movie lives or dies on chemistry.
It really
everyone's
does.
chemistry works.
Yeah, from
Brad
Carrie
Pitt,
Condon
to
Damson Idris.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see, and Damson Idris I thought was really good, but this is Brad Pitt's movie.
It is, but again, they give enough to Damson Idris to make his story interesting.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's got stakes, and I understand why he's mad and why he feels like he deserves some time in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Like, I get that. But, you know, it's Brad Pitt's movie.
It's Brad Pitt's movie.
But at the end of the day, is it Brad Pitt's movie or is it really Joseph Kosinski's movie?
That's a good question, because Joseph Kosinski is really putting on a display the same way he did in Top Gun Maverick. And I'm telling you, after these last two movies, I'm looking forward to see what he does
I'll watch
next.
whatever he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And Oblivion is an underrated movie.
I think Tron Legacy is pretty good.
And Tron Legacy, people need to talk about those movies more. What's your rating for this?
I had a great time at the movies. Like, you know, it's not going to be on my top 10 movies of the year, probably, unless this year goes real bad, real quick. But it's definitely a B+. I had a great time. And you got to see it on the biggest screen possible.
Oh, absolutely. This is made for IMAX, and definitely check it out on the biggest screen possible. This is easily a B+. Teetering on top 10 right now as far as the first half of the year.
I don't want to see this in my top 10. I need this year to deliver.
Yeah, I needed to deliver a little bit more. But again, it's a great time at the theater. So, so those are our thoughts on F1. When we return, those pesky little dinosaurs are back. So we'll deal with them when we come back after this break. For the 7th time.
Today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. A victory that is there for the taking. Grab it.
Now that was a great halftime speech. Let's go win.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Another plot to extract blood from prehistoric dinosaurs to create a cure for a human disease plays out, as you would think, in this retread of the original and, yes, better film, Jurassic Park. All right, Brad, so I don't know, maybe that kind of tells you how I feel about this movie. But yeah, Jurassic World Rebirth. So this is a rebirth, a new beginning. You know, we come out of that trilogy of Jurassic World with Bryce Dallas Howard and Chris Pratt.
So glad they're not here.
Yeah, you know, we bring in Mahershala Ali, Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, Rupert Friend. We got a new cast, a nice cast, right? Right? And
Gareth Edwards.
Gareth Edwards, you know, from The Creator and Monster and Rogue One and Godzilla, movies we love. So this is primed to be a movie that we just...
Trash, Bryan. This movie is bad.
I really wanted to love this movie, man.
I wanted to love it too, and I thought for like a hot minute, maybe a hot 5 minutes that I was going to.
Yeah.
We start 17 years earlier, which in Jurassic Park franchise terms, I have no idea when that is.
Dude, yeah.
Is that during Jurassic World? Is it pre-Jurassic World? I don't know. But we start 17 years ago, and we're on another island, another side island. Is this island C, D, E, F, G? I don't know. They're creating mutant dinosaurs. And if we're starting to create mutant dinosaurs, then what's even the point of a Jurassic Park movie? Like, if it's just going to be Skull Island, who cares?
Dude, I've been thinking that ever since, like, Jurassic World, or even, it's like, why are we creating mutant dinosaurs?
Just give me Carnosaur at that point.
Really?
So the first 5 minutes I thought was actually well staged and directed, a little scary. When the logo came out, I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like a fun romp of a movie.
And they introduced an interesting idea at the beginning of the movie where like humans have kind of become complacent.
Yeah, they're bored of Jurassic World.
They're bored.
Understandably. We're all bored of Jurassic World, even though this is the 7th one and it's still gonna make $1 bajillion. People love dinosaurs, whatever. But like, I like that idea, and there's this kind of beautiful scene where they're in New York and this brontosaurus has escaped the zoo and is tied under the Brooklyn Bridge. Like, oh, can we finally have that movie? Can we finally have the movie where it is Dominion? Like Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Dominion was supposed to give us that, but we still went back to the island and then we fought some bugs for some reason. I want that movie. We've never gotten that movie.
I know.
We probably will never get that movie. Instead, we're back on an island, kids in peril. Scarlett Johansson's kind of fun as this mercenary type, but she's not taking anything seriously, and so why should I?
Well, see, that's the problem, because I love the cast here, and it's just like, if to me, it feels like the actors that are in this movie feel bored. There's a scene with Mahershala Ali and Scarlett Johansson where they're kind of catching up, talking about their past and where they've been and how they're feeling. And I thought that there was something interesting there with these two characters, but that doesn't really go anywhere. And even in that scene, when you're listening to them have this conversation and this catch-up that they're doing, they feel bored in this movie.
I mean, it's drab. The screenplay, the dialogue is dull. Okay, David kept back at it. You know, behind some of the original films. You know, he does his best. I think Gareth Edwards does his best.
I think he
does
too.
But the ideas aren't really there, and I know that this film was rushed into production.
Yeah, it was.
And you feel that. And some of the effects are great. Some of the effects are less great. Some of the staging is exciting. I think the Mosasaurus sequence on the boat
in the water,
is kind of cool. But it's odd that the film kind of splits into two movies where we're following the family that's lost on the island and the mercenaries trying to get this dinosaur blood for pharmaceutical reasons.
And then you build up to what they call the D-Rex, who looks like a Rancor from Star Wars. And I'm just like, what are we doing with this? Like, it's the design of that is not appealing.
And like the movie tries to like recreate all these scenes from the original Jurassic Park. This is the 7th Jurassic World movie, and we're still like doing the raptor in the kitchen scene. We're still doing the flares and the T-Rex scene. Come on, you're corny.
And using and bringing in the John Williams music that swells up for the I think it was the Titanosaurus.
Yeah, sure.
Recreating the Brontosaurus from the first movie. It's like none of that stuff is working,
It's
and you can't.
embarrassing.
It really
yet,
is.
this movie made a ton of money,
and it will continue to make money.
And we will probably get an 8th film that will suffer through.
Easily. What's your rating for this?
I did not like it. It's a B-.
It's a B- for me me too. I mean, it's just not worth watching. And unfortunately, we'll get another one. And we'll be back when the next one comes out, hoping it'll be great.
Yeah, because we're all prisoners within Jurassic World.
We really are. All right, so those are our thoughts on Jurassic World Rebirth. All right, when we come back, it's the dawn of a new cinematic universe. Stay right there.
Going to cheerleading camp next to the abandoned insane asylum, it's like throwing your blood away.
50% of Americans like watching blood get spilled in horror movies, but only 3% donate it.
Now that's scary.
Get out of here!
Superman flies in to save the people of Metropolis from a giant kaiju in the delightfully weird film Superman, directed by James Gunn. Bryan.
It's finally here.
It's here. After
here.
so much anticipation,
Yeah,
I believe this was your most anticipated film of the year and my most anticipated of the year.
I think it was, yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Can this film possibly live up to those expectations? Did it for you?
You know what? Yes, I gotta say, while we're at the time that we're recording this, I've seen the movie twice.
Oh, brag.
I know. I hate
it. The movie's not even out yet, but I've seen it twice.
So, I don't know, and we had an interesting conversation coming out of the screening, and it's just like, sometimes we have to wrestle with what our own expectations are of Superman.
Sure.
But again, and going to your point, after a second watch, you can really settle in. I love this movie.
Yeah,
like,
I'm so happy.
It really worked. Like all the beats of it really work.
I think the best aspect of this film is also the most challenging aspect of this film, and it's the fact that Superman is something that we all have an opinion about. You know,
That's true.
Created in 1938 by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, premiering in Action Comics #1. I don't remember life before Superman. I was talking to comic book writer Tom King not too long ago, and he was saying like Superman's like a chair. You don't remember when you met a chair.
Yeah.
Right? Like the chairs just exist. Superman just exists.
That's true.
It's like the air around you.
Yeah.
And when I went into this movie, like I want Superman to behave a certain way and be a certain way. And this movie is James Gunn's Superman. It's not Brad Gullickson's Superman. So you have to kind of let that go.
Yeah.
And once you do, if you can be a little less nerd about it, it's a great time at the movies.
No, it really is a good time. And this movie, it really kind of dives deep into the weird and the science fiction, and like you say, the very James Gunn of it. But with all James Gunn movies, and his sensibilities really do kind of speak to me as a viewer with what he does as a filmmaker. He really does know how to bring in character and heart in with some of the zaniness of this world.
We all know what Superman is, and we've gone through the origin many times through multiple mediums, over multiple generations. It doesn't need to retread any of that stuff. So this movie, when it begins, it begins. It's like, go.
Yes.
It is an action film. I was surprised at how much action was in this movie. I think it would give Zack Snyder a run for its money in terms of how many fight sequences are in it.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, because like you say, the movie just starts and it goes. And another aspect of it that I really like too is how, and James Gunn has talked about this leading up to this movie, is how he is creating this movie as not a start to a world, but we're already living in a world.
The world exists and we're visiting.
That has metahumans, and everything. So I like how this movie kind of starts off really letting us know what the world that we are inhabiting.
And like the film is about what makes Superman special in a world of super beings. You know, when there is a Green Lantern, when there is a Hawk Girl, when there is a Metamorpho and kaijus, you know, like, so what's so special about this guy in blue and red? And the film answers that, right? It's about his heart. It's about his humanity as an immigrant to our planet.
It's interesting too because one thing that I wanted to kind of see more of that I thought, and not to get into comparisons, but I like how he is a man of two different fathers, two different sets of parents, where he gets teachings from these two different parents. And one thing that is speaking to your point about his heart and his humanity is how he inspires the world, but a lot of that also comes from his teachings of his parents as well.
The world inspires him, and then he puts that inspiration back out. That's what Superman's about.
Yeah.
And then we get this great performance from Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, right?
Man.
And so like there's the two angels on our shoulders, right?
Yeah.
We can pursue the greed and the envy and the anger of Lex Luthor. We can strive toward that.
Yeah.
Or we can strive toward the angels.
Right.
We can pursue our divinity. We can pursue our better selves in Superman.
Yeah.
And like that's straight out of Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely's All-Star Superman.
Yeah.
You know, James Gunn clearly has read that comic and is like, I want to do my take on it. Because again, this is still very much like a James Gunn movie. This is the guy who made the Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy.
I mean, we could talk about the performances and some of the side characters. We talked about the Justice Gang. I mean, some of these other characters like Mr. Terrific, who I'm not that familiar with, but I thought really shined in this movie.
But you want to get familiar, right? Like you come out of this movie and you're like, I need a Fair Play jacket. I need some T-spheres.
I need a cosplay of
I
that.
need more Mr. Terrific comics. That character is so compelling. And the movie still manages to give him one of the best action scenes in the runtime, right?
Yeah.
And then
he
Guy
does.
Gardner, Nathan Fillion.
I mean,
like this is the bowl cut he was born to wear.
Yeah, I mean, he embodies that character, and he was like the big surprise for me. I thought that he stole every scene that he was in, and he was hilarious, the right amount of comedy, the right amount of that character. Would have liked a little bit more Hawk Girl, but I still liked...
Hawk Girl is, I think, one of my least favorite elements of the movie. Like, I just don't think it's a character that we really understand or are given really much to hang out with. I also kind of would have liked more Lois and Clark together.
Same.
Maybe even some more Clark.
Yeah, but I do like Lois as a character and what she's doing in this movie.
Yeah, she's fantastic, and Rachel Brosnahan is great.
Yeah. I mean, she's very active in her pursuit of. Well, I don't want to give too much away, but she's an active participant.
But she's
in
not
this
just
movie.
like falling out of windows and being caught.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like she's in the action. She is. Progressing the script. She is making change within the story. And it's fantastic.
And I got to give a shout out to Jimmy Olsen.
Skylar, from the Righteous Gemstones, this is a different kind of Jimmy Olsen, although this is a Jimmy Olsen that you see in All-Star Superman. This guy gets it.
He does. What's your rating for this one?
I loved the movie. I had to settle into the vibe. Like it took me a little while to shed some of my preconceived biases about what should and should not be Superman. But at the end of the day, if this is going to be the DC universe, I'd rather be here than where Marvel is right now.
Don't say that too loud. Actually, no, say it louder.
Superman's great.
I love Superman 2. This is Superman, not Superman 2. We don't have that one yet. But yeah, this is a B+ for me. I absolutely love this movie, and it works better on rewatch. And I think with every watch after that, this movie is going to end up just rising in my estimation. I really, really enjoyed this movie. Definitely check this one out.
See it on a big screen.
See it. Oh, most definitely. All right, guys. So that's going to do it. Let's recap what we talked about on this show today. We started off with 28 years later. Me and Brad gave that a B+. Then we moved over to F1, trademark the movie. So Brad and I also gave that one a B+. Then we moved over to Jurassic World Rebirth. That is a B- for both of us. And Superman, the new film by James Gunn that kicks off this universe, that is a B+ for both of us. So, thank you for joining us on this latest episode of B&B Movie Reviews. Come be a part of the conversation. If you have questions, suggestions, feel free to email us at bnbmoviereviews@gmail.com. And with that, we will see you at the movies.